Do you feel it? That sudden jarring moment in the dead of night when sleep vanishes and a heavy weight settles on your chest. You are lying in the dark, but your mind is racing with worries that feel impossible to carry. If you are awake while the world sleeps, know that this is not a coincidence. It is a sacred appointment, designed just for you. This is the hour of profound stillness, the time when the veil between the physical and the metaphysical seems thinnest. Look around you. There is no distraction. The television is off. The demands of the workplace are hours away. The children are quiet, resting in their own worlds. External life has ceased its frantic movement. But this external peace only serves to amplify the internal storm. When the world stops spinning, your mind often starts racing. This is the moment when the shaitan, the adversary, finds his easiest entry point, and simultaneously, the moment when the ruh, the soul, feels the most urgency to speak. What is it that wakes you? Is it a physical discomfort? Perhaps. But often, it is a burden that has been submerged during the daylight hours, a worry too heavy to carry while you are engaged in the distractions of earning and spending. Now, in the dark, these worries rise like specters from the floorboards. You stare at the ceiling, and the ceiling stares back, utterly indifferent to the intense, gnawing anxiety tightening your chest. You begin to review the day's failures, the harsh words spoken in haste, the opportunity missed, the small transgression committed against yourself or against others. The past comes back with a clarity that is painful, unforgiving, and relentless. Every mistake is magnified tenfold in the absolute silence of the pre-dawn. And then, there is the future. Oh, the heavy weight of the future. In the daylight, we can manage the future in small, actionable steps. A meeting here, a deadline there. But at 3 a.m., the future becomes a vast, undefined abyss. You worry about provision, about the job security, about the health of a loved one, about the spiritual state of your children, about the very meaning of your existence. You feel utterly, profoundly alone in bearing these colossal responsibilities. This sense of isolation is perhaps the cruelest aspect of the night awakening. You feel as though you are the only one in the world carrying this specific, crushing weight, while everyone else enjoys the blissful oblivion of true rest. You are restless, and that restlessness feels unique to you, a sign of some personal failure or spiritual deficiency. I want to pause here and look directly into that feeling, that deep-seated fear that grips you. Please, hear this truth from your brother and mentor. You are not alone in this silence. You are not failing. That heavy feeling in the pit of your stomach, that sense of existential dread, that painful review of your shortcomings, this is a universal human experience. It is the human heart grappling with its own mortality and its inherent weakness when stripped of its daily defenses. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us that sleep is a minor death, a temporary withdrawal of the soul. When you wake up suddenly, you are experiencing a minor resurrection, and the first instinct of the soul upon resurrection is accountability, worry, and seeking reconciliation. But let us not allow the adversary to define this moment for us. The shaitan loves this hour because he can whisper doubts into the unprotected ear. He tells you that your past sins are unforgivable, that your future is hopeless, that your worries are insurmountable, and that you are too weak to cope. He encourages despair. He wants you to believe that this restlessness is a curse, a sign of your inadequacy. He wants you to roll over, frustrated, and wait for the morning light to erase the memory of your anxiety, only for it to return the next night. He wants you to waste this precious interval in fruitless worry and self-pity. My dear ones, I say to you, this restlessness is not a curse. It is a summons. It is an invitation. It is a whisper from the divine, disguised in the discomfort of your anxiety. The Creator, the all-wise, the ever-merciful, allows your sleep to be broken precisely at this hour because he desires a conversation with you. He is pulling you out of the comfort of your mattress and into the reality of his presence. He is saying, everyone else is asleep, relying on their own strength, their own resources, their own plans. But you, my servant, you are awake. Now, turn to me. Understand the immense spiritual weight of this specific time. The night is divided, and the final third, the time just before the true dawn, is the most sacred portion. This is the time of Tahajjud, the time of the descent of divine mercy. We are taught in the most authentic narrations that our Lord descends, in a manner befitting His Majesty, to the lowest heaven during the last third of the night, proclaiming, "Is there anyone supplicating that I may answer his supplication? Is there anyone asking that I may grant him his request? Is there anyone seeking forgiveness that I may forgive him?" Before we continue, I invite you to take a deep, slow breath. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Remember, you are in the presence of the Most Merciful. If this message is touching your heart, consider subscribing to join our community of light. When you wake up burdened, anxious, or fearful, recognize that you have been placed precisely in the window of time when the divine answer is closest. Your wakefulness is not random. It is a meticulously arranged appointment. The worries that plague you are not meant to paralyze you. They are intended to propel you towards the one who holds the keys to all solutions. The anxiety that tightens your chest is simply your soul's painful recognition that you are trying to carry the burdens of the universe on your own shoulders, rather than placing them at the threshold of the Almighty. The moment you are awake, you are standing, spiritually speaking, at the gate of immense mercy. We must learn to reframe this moment of discomfort, not as a failure of sleep, but as a success of the soul in responding to the call. The silence of the night is not empty. It is pregnant with possibility, awaiting your prayer, your sigh, your confession, your plea. We must move beyond the frustration of insomnia and embrace the profound opportunity of the vigil. We must indeed move beyond the frustration of insomnia and embrace the profound opportunity of the vigil. This profound opportunity, my dearest brothers and sisters, is rooted in the very nature of Qiyam al-Layl, the standing in the night. Reflect deeply upon the sheer qualitative difference between the prayer offered in the brightness and bustle of the day and the prayer offered in the deep, enveloping darkness of the late night. During the day, we are surrounded by a myriad of witnesses. The sun is shining, the earth is awake, the demands of the world press upon us, and even our acts of worship are subject to the subtle, almost imperceptible contamination of the nafs al-amara, the self that commands evil, which seeks recognition or efficiency. Our minds are cluttered with the echoes of commerce, conversation, and commitment. The focus is often fractured. The sincerity, though present, is frequently diluted by the sheer volume of external noise and the unavoidable interaction with creation. But the night is the great purifier. When the world has shut its eyes, when the sounds of human endeavor have faded to a profound hush, when the ego has been stripped of its audience, that is when the true dialogue begins. The night is the royal audience chamber, and the day is the busy marketplace. In the marketplace, you transact with many. In the royal chamber, you have an audience with the king alone, without intermediaries, without distractions, without witnesses save the angels recording your sincerity. The worship performed in the night is heavy on the scales of justice, precisely because it is light upon the body's desire for ease. It is a struggle against the most fundamental human instinct, the instinct for rest, for comfort, for oblivion. The soul that chooses to rise when the body desperately craves the mattress is a soul that has proven its devotion beyond doubt. This is why Allah, the Exalted, reserves the highest praise and the greatest proximity for those who forsake their beds. Their sides forsake their beds, calling upon their Lord in fear and hope, and from what we have bestowed upon them they spend. Quran 32:16. The very act of the side leaving the bed is noted, emphasizing the physical sacrifice involved. The very anxiety that wakes you, that tightness in your chest which feels like a physical affliction, is actually the soul's desperate attempt to shake off the inertia of the body and fulfill its true purpose. It is the nafs al-lawama, the self-reproaching soul, active and demanding reconciliation. When you are woken by worry, recognize that the worry itself is a form of spiritual pressure, intended to compress your scattered thoughts and drive them toward a single, indispensable point of focus: the divine presence. It is a divine mechanism of propulsion. If you were only woken by the sweet, gentle call of the muezzin, the effort would be minimal, and the merit perhaps less acute. But when you are woken by the painful, sharp sting of existential dread, financial fear, or personal failure, the effort to shift that raw, agonizing energy from fruitless anxiety into purposeful supplication, dua, becomes an act of profound spiritual alchemy. You are taking the raw material of suffering and forging it into pure, unadulterated worship. Let us turn our gaze toward the supreme example, the one who was commanded to stand in the night, even when the burden of prophecy was already immense. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The early revelation of Surah Al-Muzammil, the Enshrouded One, provides the foundational instruction for this sacred vigil. Imagine the Prophet, newly burdened with the ultimate message, seeking solace and warmth under a blanket in the deepest hours of the night, only to hear the powerful, life-altering command, "O you who wraps himself in clothing, arise to pray the night, except for a little, half of it or slightly less than that, or add to it, and recite the Quran with measured recitation." Quran 73, 1-4. This was not a mere suggestion. It was a divine imposition of vigilance, a spiritual boot camp designed for the purification of the heart. The tafsir of this passage reveals the immense spiritual training required of the Prophet and his early companions. The command to stand for half the night, or even more, was an obligation of immense weight. It was a rigorous conditioning of the soul to rely entirely on Allah during the hours when human support is utterly absent. Why this intensity? Because reciting the Quran with measured recitation, tartil, during the night, transforms the heart in ways that the day cannot match. The subsequent verses confirm this profound effect. Indeed, the hours of the night are more effective for forceful treading credorn of the soul, and more suitable for the word of Allah to be heard. Quran 73:6. The word used here, wata'an, implies a forceful, profound impression, a deep establishment of faith, a crushing of the lower, worldly desires. It means the soul is firmly planted in devotion, unshakable. The night allows the revelation, the divine word, to sink into the very marrow of your being, unobstructed by the superficial chatter and demands of the daylight hours. And how did the Prophet respond to this command? He who was the busiest of men, the leader of a burgeoning community, and the recipient of continuous revelation. We know from the authentic narrations that he would stand in prayer for such long durations, that his blessed feet would swell, crack, and bleed. When his devoted wife, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, would lovingly ask him, "O Messenger of Allah, why do you exert yourself so much when Allah has forgiven you all your past and future sins?" His response was the ultimate lesson in gratitude, love, and spiritual aspiration. Should I not be a thankful servant? His was not a prayer born of desperate need in the conventional sense, but a prayer of profound, overflowing appreciation for the gifts of guidance and mercy already bestowed. If the one whose sins were already forgiven felt compelled to stand until his body physically strained under the devotion, how can we, who are drowning in error, weakness, and need, afford to roll over and dismiss the clear, insistent call of the night? The pain of standing, the physical discomfort, the struggle against sleep, these are not punishments. They are the tangible manifestations of our gratitude and our sincerity. When you wake up, and your mind immediately floods with the overwhelming list of your problems, do not view this as a spiritual setback or a physical failure. View it instead as your personal Tahajjud starter kit. Your worries are the necessary fuel. Instead of letting them burn you with anxiety and regret, use them to light the wick of your prayer. Consider the extended metaphor of the spiritual blacksmith. During the day, the metal, your soul, is pliable but cold. You can shape it superficially with routine acts. But at night, when you are awake and vulnerable, the intense heat of your anxiety is applied. This heat is necessary to purify the metal, to burn off the dross of distraction and worldly attachment. When the soul is heated by worry, it becomes malleable enough to be hammered into a stronger, purer form through sincere dua and recitation. The hammer blow is the sajda, the prostration, where you place the most elevated part of your body, your forehead, the seat of intellect and ego, on the lowest surface, the dust of the earth, affirming your utter dependence and humility. This act of profound spiritual surrender, performed in the deepest silence of the night, is the exact moment when the crushing weight of the universe is lifted from your shoulders and transferred entirely to the care and command of the Almighty. Look also at the detailed story of Prophet Ayub, Job, peace be upon him. His trial was not a momentary affliction, a single bad day. It was a prolonged, agonizing siege upon his health, his wealth, and his family. His suffering lasted for years, punctuated by endless, sleepless nights, filled with physical pain and intense spiritual questioning. His entire existence became a prolonged vigil of endurance. Yet, in his darkest, most isolated moments, when all human comfort had departed, he turned absolutely and completely to the One. His invocation was the epitome of gentle pleading, acknowledging the reality of his suffering without demanding an immediate cessation or questioning the divine decree. Indeed, adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. Quran 21:83. The tafsir highlights that Ayub's greatness lay not just in his patience, sabra, which was legendary, but in his impeccable manners, adab, with his creator. He never questioned the wisdom of the trial. He only stated the objective reality of his pain and immediately appealed to the known attribute of Allah, His immense, overwhelming mercy. When you wake up anxious, grappling with chronic worry, you are experiencing a micro version of Ayub's trial. The prolonged nature of chronic worry is designed to test your adab, etiquette, with the divine. Do you complain bitterly against the night and the fate that woke you? Or do you, like Ayub, state your condition and immediately appeal to the attribute of mercy that is closest at hand during this blessed, final third of the night? Your restlessness is merely the insistent tapping of divine mercy, a reminder that the only true, unshakable rest is found not in the temporary oblivion of sleep, but in the eternal certainty of submission. Therefore, when you are pulled from your slumber by the hand of worry, let your first movement be toward the wudu, ablution. Let the cold water wash away the residue of sleep and the destructive whispers of the adversary. Stand upon your prayer rug, even if only for 2 brief units of prayer. Raka'at. Do not worry about eloquence or perfection in your recitation. Worry only about showing up. The quality of the worship during Tahajjud is defined by the sheer effort of presence, not by the length of the recitation or the beauty of your voice. You have answered the summons, and in answering the summons, you have already secured the greatest victory over the self and over the despair that sought to consume you in the darkness. The night is not a void. It is a canvas upon which the most sincere confessions and the deepest prayers are painted, unseen by human eyes, but recorded in the eternal ledgers of the Most High. The silence is the microphone, waiting for your whisper. This is the moment to transition from passive suffering to active supplication, recognizing that the weight you carry is precisely what qualifies you for this sacred audience. The action required of you, my dear seeker, when the veil of sleep is torn by the sharpness of worry, is not the pursuit of distraction, nor the futile attempt to force oblivion, but the deliberate and conscious transition into the state of active presence. You have been summoned to the private audience. Therefore, let the first act be the purification, the wudu, where the water, cold and cleansing, is not merely washing the limbs, but symbolically rinsing the dust of worldly entanglement from your spirit. Stand then for those 2 brief units of prayer, the rakat of Tahajjud, not as a burden, but as the only safe harbor in that vast, terrifying ocean of night. Do not concern yourself with the length of your recitation. Brevity with sincerity outweighs volumes of rote performance. Concentrate instead on the meaning of the words you utter, for they are the ancient, timeless keys to the divine treasury. And after those 2 units, after the bowing and the prostration, comes the moment of deepest intimacy, the dua. This is where the spiritual blacksmith truly hammers the purified metal. You must speak to your Lord with a raw, unedited honesty that you would never dare share with any human being, not even your closest confidant. Tell him about the specific, agonizing weight that woke you. Name the fear, name the debt, name the uncertainty that gnaws at your peace. Confess your weakness, your frailty, your utter lack of control over the affairs of tomorrow, or even the affairs of the next hour. This confession is not a sign of failure. It is the pinnacle of faith. For in confessing your powerlessness, you are simultaneously affirming the absolute, overwhelming power of the one to whom you appeal. This is the essence of recognizing Allah as Al-Wakeel, the disposer of affairs, the ultimate trustee. The benefits of this nocturnal conversation are immediate and profound, transforming the very nature of your suffering. When you transfer the burden in the darkness, you are activating the deepest layer of tawakkul, reliance. Consider the detailed meaning of the verse that becomes the mantra of the reliant heart. Sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of affairs. On Quran 3:173. The tafsir informs us that this declaration was uttered by the believers when they were threatened by overwhelming forces, when fear was palpable, and the human resources were demonstrably insufficient. They understood that fear is often merely the shadow cast by the perceived absence of human aid. By declaring Allah as Al-Wakeel, they were not performing a mere linguistic affirmation. They were signing an irrevocable contract of spiritual delegation. They were saying, "We hereby terminate our attempt to manage the uncontrollable chaos of the world, and we assign the management of our destiny, our worries, and our enemies entirely to you, O Lord." The immediate, tangible spiritual return on this investment of faith is the descent of sakina, that profound, tranquil certainty, the stillness of the heart that no storm can shake. This sakina is not the absence of problems. It is the absence of internal panic in the face of problems. It is the spiritual armor that makes the arrows of anxiety fall harmlessly at your feet. When you stand in the silence, recognizing that the one who sustains the heavens and the earth, Al-Qayyum, is awake and attentive, the disproportionate weight of your small human worries shrinks to its proper size. The anxiety that felt like a mountain when you woke up becomes a manageable pebble once it has been placed in the divine scale. Furthermore, the night vigil establishes a unique, permanent channel of communication. It is the training ground for resilience. The person who learns to fight their deepest fears in the privacy of the Tahajjud prayer will find that the trials of the day become significantly lighter. Why? Because you have already encountered the source of all strength. You have negotiated peace not with the world, but with the master of the world. You have proven to your own nafs, ego, self, that you have a recourse beyond mortal limitation. The night, which once seemed like a period of vulnerable exposure to worry, transforms into a sanctuary, a spiritual gymnasium where your faith muscles are strengthened. Every time you rise, every time you make wudu, despite the temptation of the warm bed, you are performing an act of purification that reaches deeper than the surface. You are purging the soul of the subtle pride that believes it can handle everything alone. You are replacing that debilitating self-reliance with robust divine reliance. The chronic nature of your anxiety, the very repetition of the awakening, is merely the persistent knocking of divine love, calling you back to the furnace of purification. Embrace the fire. Embrace the weight, for the weight is the prerequisite for the lift. The prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us specific invocations for when the burdens felt overwhelming, such as the comprehensive dua of Yunus, Jonah, in the belly of the whale, a situation of absolute darkness and isolation. There is no deity except you, exalted are you. Indeed, I have been of the wrongdoers. Quran 21:87. The tafsir of this verse emphasizes the structure. It begins with the absolute affirmation of divine unity, Tawheed, pivots to the absolute glorification of Allah, Tasbih, and culminates in the absolute admission of human failing, Istighfar. This is the perfect template for your own nocturnal supplication. Acknowledge His greatness, admit your own shortcomings, and then, only then, ask for relief. For the one who acknowledges the greatness of the Master first is the one whose small request is most readily granted. This is the spiritual economy of the night. You give up comfort, sleep, and in return, you receive the most valuable commodity in existence, Sakina, and the certainty of His proximity. Do not let the opportunity of the third part of the night pass you by. It is a moment more precious than all the gold of the earth. It is the time when the divine descent is promised, when the Lord of the universe asks, "Who is asking that I may give him? Who is seeking forgiveness that I may forgive him?" When you are awake, anxious, and standing in prayer, you are the answer to that divine rhetorical question. You are the one who has shown up. We conclude this profound discussion, my beloved students, by turning our hearts fully to the source of all comfort and all strength, asking Him to accept our efforts and transform our sleepless nights into moments of luminous connection. O Allah, O most merciful of the merciful, O sustainer of the heavens and the earth, O self-sustaining, O ever-living, we stand before you in this darkness, acknowledging that the anxiety that grips our hearts is but a shadow of our distance from your light. We confess our weakness, our profound human frailty, and our inability to manage the affairs of our own lives, let alone the grand tapestry of destiny. We place all our burdens, our debts, our fears for our children, our worries concerning our provision, the chronic ache of uncertainty, entirely into your hands, O Al-Wakeel. You are sufficient for us, and you are the best disposer of affairs. O Allah, O turner of hearts, stabilize our hearts upon your religion. Grant us the sakina that descended upon the believers, the tranquility that allows the soul to rest, even when the body is afflicted by pain or the mind is beset by worry. Forgive us for every moment we complained against our fate, for every time we questioned your wisdom, and for every instance we sought comfort in temporary distractions rather than in the permanence of your remembrance. Make this rising from sleep, this involuntary vigil, a means of expiation for our sins, and a ladder by which we ascend to higher ranks of sincerity. O Lord, just as you lifted the affliction from your prophet Ayub, Job, and just as you rescued your prophet Yunus, Jonah, from the depths of darkness, rescue us from the darkness of our own anxieties. Illuminate our paths with the light of your guidance. Allow us, when we feel the crushing weight of the world, to immediately remember that there is no power and no strength save with you, the exalted, the magnificent. Let us not fear the night, but rather anticipate it as the most sacred time for communion. Cleanse our hearts of malice, of envy, and of every sickness that prevents us from tasting the sweetness of pure reliance upon you. Accept our tahajjud, however brief, however imperfect, and count us among those who truly rely on you. Ameen. And all praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. May your nights be filled with light, and your heart find its rest in Him. Thank you for sharing this sacred time with me. Peace be upon you.